This mindful musing is going to be a little art experiment, and I've got some watercolors that I don't often use and a page in my sketchbook that I kind of started drafting something and ended up not finishing, although it did kind of become the basis for this book here. And I've got some pages on the back that are also just sort of not finished pieces, kind of just experimentation pages behind it. But I also have a little piece of wax paper just to keep stuff from transferring too much. You can do this art experiment though with anything that's been sitting in the bottom of your art drawer is what I'd recommend. And if you haven't been practicing for a while, this is also a great way to kind of break off the crust that can form after a long hiatus away from your practice. Because all we're going to be doing today is playing with a bit of line and some curvy shapes and maybe overlapping some colors, but really this is just going to be about playing, and the mindfulness aspect is going to be focused on trying to stay present with what's happening, noticing what's happening with the colors and the marks that you're forming on the page. So this is a really great way to just get accustomed and get a feel for some of your art materials or tools. Even if you have new brushes or a new sketch pad, it's a great way to break this in, because we're really just going to be focusing on feeling out what these interactions are like. So I just want to take a few nice calming breaths just to bring us here into the present and try and release any tension that might have built up while thinking about making marks on that scary blank page. Although mine isn't so blank, because I chose that well. Now that I'm a little more calm and centered, I'm going to start by just taking this, and I have a little palette here, but since this isn't really an art project where I'm worrying about mixing the colors too much, I'm going to put some dots straight onto my page, if I can. The other problem with things sitting for a while is they might have gotten a little gummy. So, oh, there it goes. Yeah, this one might be a dead tube. And that is the danger with things sitting at the bottom of the art drawer. Well, hopefully they're not all dead soldiers. Ooh, this doesn't feel promising. Nope. That one is hard as a rock. Oh well. This one feels like it might have some left to it. Yay! They're not all dead. Alright, well, 1 out of 6. That's a starting point. That'll do something. This guy's going all right. We've got two colors, looking good. Ooh, 3. Do we have a 4-man band? Yay, blues in the party. All right, well, I'm glad that the colors that have survived my art drawer are the more colorful colors. So I'm just gonna take a little water and start spreading stuff around, and kind of having fun here with making this like a weird little bird or something. Very abstract bird. Now I'm going to play with doing some figure eights. So I'm just kind of going back and forth in some little loops. I'm going to see how long this paint stays on the brush and how watery we can make these watercolors. If you're using a dry medium, you can start by, instead of making dots, just taking the chunk of pastel or pencil or whatever it is and just start drawing a really high saturation color area. And then practicing with some of these fun shapes. So, push some of my yellow around too. Very mustardy yellow. I think I'm just going to do some loops, simple loops from this guy. I'll push this green around a little bit. Oof, got a lot of water in there. Oh, it's a very Ninja Turtle green. I know I'm making some silly comments here, but these are actually part of my observation process, is to kind of link the color to something. And that's another way of bringing some mindfulness into this. That red is more of a kind of fuchsia pink to me. This blue is very, what I think of as kind of the Mediterranean sea blue, although the Mediterraneans might want to correct me on that. I don't know. But it's a more greenish blue than some of the other blues. Sometimes I kind of relate it back also to where it would sit in my palette if I were to stick it in with, let's say, these guys. So that blue would be right here, that pink's over here, that yellow doesn't exist here. Like, this is close, but I feel like it's a bit darker and richer than that ends up being, and that green's definitely over here with the other Ninja Turtles. So now I kind of want to experiment a little with taking a couple colors and playing with them. So I'm going to go one side of my brush with one, and then try and just grab a bit of another color. And square brushes like this can be really useful for seeing what a color ends up looking like when it's, you can use it to mix it very well, but also keep a little separation by doing the one side, other side thing. And I'm going to go around again and just mix everyone together. Normally when I'm working, I would have some more of this stuff around, but since this is just a playful kind of session, I didn't want to spend too much time agonizing over my setup, because I really just wanted this to be something I could set up in 10 minutes and then just start going with, because that's really what I'm trying to do, is make this as easy on myself as possible. Yeah. One thing about these mustard yellows is when they mix with green, they end up looking very brownish, especially a green like this. So right there, I know that if I wanted to use this to make nature landscape, I would probably need either a lighter, less red yellow, or some white to calm that down. And that's another aspect we can bring in here, is just thinking about what we could apply these to. Because that will help us notice more in this moment. Meditation can absolutely be about just focusing on the now and the present, but mindfulness of this moment, there are sometimes ways that you can use the future or the past to bring yourself more into this moment here. That might fly in the face of what a lot of people are working with or trying to work with in mindfulness, but the whole idea of being only in the present is often misunderstood as you just live for the moment and you never think about the future or the past ever. And that's just not practical or reasonable. The real task of mindfulness is to bring us more into our lives. So your life is happening in the present, in the now, but that's not the end of your life. You're going to be living for a while, hopefully, and you may need to think of the past or the future at different points. So it doesn't make sense to just forget the present completely, the past or the future completely, in favor of the present as this be-all, end-all of existence. If we want to get really esoteric, we could start talking about how all of these things can be constructs of the mind. Starting to get some dry paint here, so my mixing is getting a little bit harder, but I can just use some more water to loosen that up. And it's funny how this ends up looking like a bit more of a forest green than that. I find this green looks very cartoonish, and it's hard to use in landscapes, but see how it mixes with, ooh, that actually looks really neat now. So now I kind of have an idea, if I ever wanted to make a landscape out of that, what I would do. And now I'm just playing around. Now I'm gonna make some mud, I think. Remember when you were a kid and you just kept adding colors to each other because you wanted all of them to be together? You wanted to see what would happen. And of course, mud would happen, because that's what happens when you mix all the colors together. Oh, I'm going to intentionally make some mud now by just going over everything. I don't think I have enough red left, though, to make some real mud. I don't know. Oh, there we go. We're starting to get it. I knew I'd find some mud somewhere. And there we go. I think we're probably approaching 10 minutes if the tingling in my feet is any indicator. And I've experimented with these by just making some fun shapes and mixing colors together. And now I have an idea of what these colors feel like and what they feel like on this paper with those brushes. So I hope you continue if you have the time to continue with this or feel like it. And I also hope you return to it anytime you have some intimidating art supplies clogging up your drawers. Enjoy.
Remember that the only bad practice is the one you didn't do. So take a moment to feel some gratitude for the chance to practice today and for the efforts you put into it. Until next time.